Alrighty, version 1.3.1 of the battery tool and version 1.6 of the flasher and Windows application essentially has been released, both of them. And with that, we have a lot of improvements and some additional functionality. Now I have my tool connected to the computer, so let's switch to the computer. Let's connect to the device. And the device is saying that it's version 1.3.0. So let's disconnect from it and let's update firmware. We're gonna leave this for auto detect, but we are supporting S3 devices now. Actually, the main thanks go to one of the community members actually two community members that purchased in total 4 work hours, and I used those 4 work hours to figure out the problem, why it wouldn't work on S3 devices. And it actually turned out to be a very simple problem. I was just looking for the problem in the wrong place. The offset of the bootloader is different on S3, and probably on C6 and others that wouldn't work either. It's probably the same problem, so I just have to figure out the offsets for each device. Now this particular one, I don't remember. I think it's ILI 9341, but I'm not sure. So let's try this one. The devices that come from me, if you purchase the hardware from me, it's going to be one of 3. So it's either ST7789, ST7789-E, or I9341. And I think this is the one. So let's try this one, and it's on COM8. Let's flash it. So if you flash it and the screen is black or white, or it otherwise doesn't work, then just try the one of the other two. It's essentially just 3 possibilities. Some of them are marked in the back, and so yeah, so this is -E. So if you see this, you see the orientation of the screen is wrong. It should be landscape, and it is a portrait. So this is -E. So let's flash that one, and there you go. Now it works perfectly fine. So now let's connect to the device on COM8, and now we have version 1.3.1. I connected the battery, so let's scan for it. Well, I guess I disconnected the battery now. Now it's still connected. We probably need to connect the power. So I'm just putting a red wire into the battery output. Be careful with that. You do it at your own risk. Okay, I think I know what the problem is. Let's flash. So it works, but we can't see the battery. So instead of -E, let's flash ST7789. No -E. If the difference between -E and not -E is, or one of the differences, are the pins. Sometimes, well, there are 3 possible versions, at least for the devices that you receive from me. If you have your own device, then obviously you have to also do a little bit of digging. Connect 131 and scan for the battery. And the battery is found. So battery says that this is BQ40Z50. The actual chip on this one is BQ40-370, but it's BQ40, so it's 32-bit chip. That's all we care about. And as you can see, this battery is not in the best condition. Now, I don't have keys for this one, so what we could do is start brute forcing it. Now the brute force has been implemented for a while now, and it's been available since very early versions, but now we can do it from over here, at least we can start the process from over here. You can disconnect from the device will continue brute forcing. Also, you don't need to connect to the computer to start brute forcing, especially if you have a few batteries, something like that. As long as you have a power source, so you can connect on some of these devices that come from me, you can connect the battery. On others, you can just use power bank or something like that. Connect the battery and press brute force in the bottom left corner. And the device is going to start brute forcing. The maximum time estimated in worst case scenario for successful brute force is roughly, if I remember correctly, around a month and a half. That's the worst case scenario if you start from 0, 0 and the actual key is all Fs. However, the brute force will also check for common keys, right? So it's not going to start brute forcing right away. It's going to check all the known keys that we've ever tested or that we've ever found. Also, symmetrical keys and offsets. What has changed in version 1.3.1 is once we start brute forcing and we get updates over here, every few seconds it's going to update you here, but you also see on the device, on the screen, you see the progress and which keys are being scanned at the moment. Right? We can stop brute force. Oh, there's a bug, but brute force has been stopped. We had 98 keys tested. So now when we start, we're gonna actually start from where we finished, right? Even if you disconnect the device, let's do that. Let's disconnect and disconnect the device from the computer, right? This is stored in flash memory, a non-volatile memory, right? So if we start again, if we connect again, and we start again, we're gonna start where we finished, right? So those 98 keys that were already tested are going to be already. Oh, another bug. Okay, I didn't connect to the battery. Okay, so I had to stop the application. All right, I need to write down those bugs. If there are any problems with version 1.3.1, the version 1.3.0 is still available and still stable. So if you flash version 1.3.1 and you find a bug that prevents you from actually using it, then just revert to version 1.3.0. Also, version 1.2.1 is available as well. So let's connect. And once connected, first we need to scan for the battery. And we can't find the battery because I probably disconnected the wire meanwhile. Or it needs some power again. Yeah, it just needed power again. I think it's the cups just charged because the voltage on the cells, well, it's there. We have 3.4 volts on the cells, so technically the BK chip should be powered, but it just kind of works like this on this particular battery. That's why I test with this battery. I connect the power. It works, then I disconnect the power and it still works for a little while and then it dies. So I'm thinking perhaps some capacitor remains charged or something like that, and from time to time you just have to revive it with the 3.3 volt wire. Okay, so now that it's detected, now we can start. So this button shouldn't be clickable if we are not connected to the battery. So for now, just remember that and I'll release an update as soon as I can. So now when we start brute forcing again, we start essentially from where we finished. And once we stop it, right, last tested keys, good, we can reset it, right? So once you gave up on one battery, you want to test another battery, you want to start the process again, from scratch, you just have to reset it and the keys will be reset to 0, 0. And that's it. The rest is essentially the same. Not much has changed. I am working on a case for it. As you can see, I have some initial prototype over here, but it's not ready yet, so I'm not sharing STL files just yet. And obviously, it will be available on my store as well. At the moment, it still comes like this. All right, that's it. It's a very quick update. We're gonna have more features coming at the end of this month or early next month. I'm working on it. I will keep you guys posted, of course. Thank you guys very much for the support that you express on all the media that I share updates on it. Thank you for purchasing work hours. Remember that when you purchase work hours, you can redeem them. So if you need help with something, consultation or anything in between, just know that you actually purchased work hours from me. It's not a donation. But you don't have to redeem them, and some of you guys do not redeem them. So thank you very much. All right, stay creative, hack some batteries, and I shall see you guys in the next one. And just a quick addendum. I'm happy to share this firmware and the software for free under the DBAD license. Okay. All I ask in return is that you remain constructive and respectful with your feedback. Supporting DIY projects takes a lot of time, so let's keep the community spirit positive. Thank you guys very much.